Good morning, everyone. My name is Darshini Ganesh, and today we are going to see how are we going to analyze the approach of choosing a best software development process in project management. Let's dive into the presentation. With a plan and a defined procedure in place, every great piece of software gets off to a terrific start with any organization. Fortunately, when you're starting with your new project, there are many software development techniques that are available as options. Which one is best for you? Which, although purchasing pre-made software reduces some risk and speeds up implementation, and the product is just available right away for the business, it might have its own cons to it. Can be a cost factor. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in and analyze each of these three different types, which is a waterfall development, agile development, or off-the-shelf software implementation. So, what you're seeing here is the proposal chart, which tells us about what is the time taken for delivering the project through waterfall methodology, or time taken for delivering the project through agile, or time taken to have the product available when we opt for off-the-shelf software. There are also total annual cost savings that is also written down here. And some of the cost of the software package, if applicable, is also displayed here. So let's compare the project proposal chart and conclude the best approach to our upper management. What you're seeing here is the waterfall system development process. Now, one of the earliest and most established processes for creating software is the waterfall method. The waterfall technique can be thought of as simply following each stage of software development lifecycle in order. We must complete each step before going on to the next step. So these are all the phases: planning, requirements, software and design, implementation, then comes testing, and then we deploy the project and continue with the maintenance of the project. Now, let's look at the pros and cons of buying versus building a software. When considering whether to purchase pre-made software or create a custom software solution from scratch to satisfy all of our business demands, there are several things to consider. And if you want to use a third-party system, make sure the time to compare the various suppliers and available options. Keep in mind the time, expense, and effort required to construct a custom software platform, as well as the long-term advantages of it. So let's dive into going over the pros and cons of building, and pros and cons of buying. The first and foremost is pros of building a software. Customization and scale, greater control, competitive edge, and guaranteed integration. Now, if you see, it is self-explanatory. When we build our own software, we know which integration and how we are going to build it so that there is guaranteed integration. We have full control over the product. We can customize at every stage of this product. Cons of building is there can be significant upfront cost. A lot of resources needs to be deployed into the project, and the time taken to build might vary, and it might be very vast. Now, on the contradictory, what is the pros of buying a software? Lower upfront cost because the product is already built and readily available to purchase. Rapid deployment, quick deployment, it can be available just as less as the time. Any updates, new features, or ongoing maintenance will be taken care by the vendor. Now, what are the disadvantages of this? Less customization because the product is already coming as pre-developed. Less control over the features. And compatibility and connectivity might be an issue and unknown. There can be long-term cost or surprising cost. Let's also look at DevOps support and the agile system development process. Now, before that, DevOps is a method of software development that enables team to create, test, deploy software more quickly than and consistently by implementing agile concepts and practices. This can be automation as well, and more communication between development and operations team. The agile processes focuses on ongoing changes, whereas DevOps emphasizes continuous testing and delivery. Agile demands a small team, but DevOps requires a somewhat a larger team. Agile, on the other hand, makes use of shift right principle, whereas DevOps makes use of both shift left and right. Now, trying to conclude on our choice of project management system, definitely I'll go with building a software using agile approach will be my preferred one because of the following reasons. There is continuous stakeholder engagement in this process, and the product owner is just engaged with us all the time along with the Scrum team. He's part of the Scrum team. Customization of the product is possible as and when we develop. Larger transparency and very large, greater control over the development and the requirements as well. Cost is pretty much predictable, and the schedule is as well predictable and very well planned in advance. Guaranteed integration. We already know that we are building the system, so all the existing integration or new integrations are guaranteed. It allows for change because that is one of the pros of agile methodology, and it purely focuses on business value and making the end users happy. We should also keep in mind the assumptions in this methodology. False assumptions can sometimes result in incomplete builds and lost time in the project. Teams frequently spend hours trying to fix problems sometimes, which are brought by wrong assumptions. Therefore, it is very important to make sure your team is very well versed in functionality of the product before they are part of the Scrum team or they're deployed in the Scrum team. So some of the highlights on the assumptions are fully engaged customers. It is always an assumption, but we should make sure this is in real. No budget approvals. It is always told that no budget approvals are needed for Agile, but there are cost factors and there are limitations to it. Fully dedicated teams. Teams are supposed to be fully dedicated, but sometimes teams do work on multiple projects, which sometimes diverts the focus of the team. Dedicated backlog grooming. This is very important. Timely and periodical backlog grooming is important with the Scrum team, such that the whole product feature is understood by the Scrum team to avoid any unknown or deviated product features. Show and tell is an important feature in this agile methodology, and it is assumed that it happens at the end of every iteration for greater transparency with the product owner. Continuous improvement. So we can continuously deliver and improve the product, which is one of the features of assumptions of agile sometimes. We should be on top of this to make it happen. And so thank you all for listening in and hearing to our choice of software development process. Hope you all enjoyed it and got the added value in this presentation. Thank you once again until we see you all in the next presentation. Until then, bye-bye. Thank you. Darshini Ganesh here.